Right guys, Hayzink here, and we're back with another video talking about this situation that's going on, right? Now, this isn't just a video for the sake of a video, there's actually a very large point behind this video. Hopefully as a wider base of people, we can help others, and that's what I'm really intending to try and do here. But really it's going to take a lot of voices to do that, and I'm hoping you guys can really jump on and be those voices, potentially share this video to larger creators who might have more sway in getting their voices heard. But let me just go over what's going on, right? So obviously yesterday I put out the video detailing how the Ken banner was just, it wasn't kosher basically, it wasn't doing what it should be doing, it wasn't giving rates that were true, it was scripted. I said at that point that I had some evidence to support that it was scripted beyond the first two summons. I validated this again myself. I didn't really want to, but I validated this again myself, checked with loads of other people, and you can't get Ken before summon number 5, right? So you'll get him summon number 1 or 2, and then you won't get him again until at least summon number 5, right? No one that has pulled Ken has managed to get a double pull within the first 5 summons. I don't even know if beyond that it's happened. Everyone that's had him's either had him summon number 1 and 2, 1 or 2, and then they don't get him again until summon number 5, right? Literally no one, right? So that means that again, the rates that they've advertised are completely false, they're completely made up, it's not a true and proper chance for you to get the unit, okay? Now on top of that, through my own experience, through speaking to other people, through seeing their experience, I started to notice a trend that this is also mirrored in other scenarios within the game. It happens within divination, which is me struggling to actually say that, where basically what happens is, obviously you first summon, you get a copy of Bison or whatever, right? Okay. Now then what happens is, see between your first summon and around about your 12th summon, you will notice that divination seems like this golden goose that will pay you lots of these characters, okay? You will get a new character maybe every 2-3 pulls within the divination pool, and eventually before you hit summon number 20 you will end up getting a double pull, right? It'll happen to all of you, you'll get a double pull. Then what happens is it dries up, it goes away, and it's almost like they are recouping what they gave you earlier, and you can go like 10 summons without getting these units, okay? Now people don't see the issue here, so I'm going to make an analogy so that you can hopefully understand why this is a big deal, okay? People need to remember that gacha games are driven by dopamine hits, okay? There is people like myself who suffer from ADHD who seek dopamine, right? And we're drawn to things like this. There's people who have addictive personalities who are drawn to things like gambling, the rush of getting what you get. Now, them giving you increased odds, undisclosed, increased odds at the start, right? Without telling you, gives you this feeling of, wow, this is amazing, this is going to be great, and it compels you to do it more and more, right? This is literally the same tactic that drug dealers use. Drug dealers, in some places, what they'll do is they'll give you the best stuff early on, they'll give you it cheap. Once you're hooked, the prices go up, the quality of the stuff goes down. By that point, you're addicted, you're in too deep, and you're spending more and more money, right? It is literally that tactic, just in a different form, okay? That is why this is a problem. And it's also illegal. You cannot do that. You cannot misrepresent the odds that you're given to players. You can't do it. It's illegal, right? I don't know why people do not understand that this is a wider issue. It's also seen that this is also happening in other scenarios. It's happening in things like vehicles. When you summon for vehicles, when you do your second pull, I'm telling you now, you will get a triple S vehicle. It'll happen, okay? That again is to drive the whole notion of, oh wow, this is actually pretty generous. I should keep going, maybe I'll hit another one. That is how they hook you, that is how they get your money, okay? There's so many other sources that can validate this. Some other YouTubers have spoken about it, whereas I'm not going to name names, but there's some that are in denial and are for some reason trying to act like this isn't a problem. We should wait to see what the developer does to rectify this. Now what I want to just say to that, and I'll say this publicly, is when you've found out that the backbone of the game, which is the summoning systems within the game, are rigged, maybe they're only rigged for a small period of time, who knows, right? But when you find out that they're rigged, how can you with good faith look back on anything that you've done within that game and trust that you've had a fair chance, that you've had the odds have been actually representative of what your experience is? How can you possibly trust that? So in reality, the only way that the developer could possibly make this right would genuinely be to refund every single person, every single penny or stone, whatever, that they've spent. Because if you have not been playing on an even playfield, that saying might be wrong, but you know what I mean, how can you possibly with good faith trust anything, right? So this is where we get to the crux of this video. People have been mass refunding. Quite right, to be honest. But this is where I need you guys' help. There's two completely different experiences. If you are with Google, in the last 24 hours, Google have refunded tens, if not hundreds of thousands. I mean, we're talking seriously a large amount of money in refunds, okay? I'm not sure quite how high it goes, but I've seen refunds of 5, 4, 2, 1, 500. Like, there's so much money being refunded, and it's all through Google, okay? Google are actually being objective with this. They are looking at the facts and they are refunding consumers. However, Apple, no, it's not the same. It's not the same situation. Apple actually, I've spoken to Apple at length about this, and it's actually because, funnily enough, I had a reason to before this. As you guys know, if you watched my earlier video, I have made a purchase in the game. I've still not got it. We are, what, 17th? The game's been out nearly 3 weeks. This purchase was made like day 3. I still don't have that purchase. I have proof from Crunchyroll that I never got that purchase. Apple won't refund. The conversation I had with Apple is they will try to refund it. The system will give them an answer. If the system says no, then what will happen is they'll try again. And if the system still says no, there's nothing that they can do. Now that reminds me of something from a TV show that I used to watch.
Computer says no.
Now, Apple's response is, what you can now do is you can contact your bank and you can submit a chargeback request, okay? Now, I just need to point out that a chargeback request isn't guaranteed. Depending on where you are in the world, it may be slightly easier than in other countries, but I know in the UK, chargebacks are not straightforward at all. They're actually very difficult to go ahead with, and it's because of a thing called friendly fraud. Basically, for situations like this, no matter what happens within the game, what you purchased was currency, and you got that currency. So as far as the bank's concerned, you got what you paid for. They don't care what happened after that. You got what you paid for, and your protection pretty much ends there, okay? So it's very, very difficult to do a chargeback with your financial organisation, at least within the UK. Apple, even faced with overwhelming evidence that this is happening, Apple are just not willing to help their customers, okay? Now, I am a small channel. It's very difficult for me and my small voice to try and impact Apple's decision making. But if there is a groundswell of support to help this, maybe getting this video in front of other creators who can speak about it, maybe if we can get somebody like Charlie, Most Critical, to talk about this, which is just not going to happen. This is not for me to boost my profile. This is literally to help the hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have been scammed have an avenue to get their money back. Apple can't just simply say, oh well, they can't. But that's what they're doing, right? Because as far as they're concerned, you got what you paid for, which was currency. What happens after that, it doesn't matter, okay? Now, I've actually had a detailed conversation with an advisor at Apple because I had an issue with this like a long time ago. And I was speaking to a manager who was high up, and he told me quite bluntly, and to be honest, The guy was very nice, but he said to me, the problem is gacha games are designed in such a way that they implement a two-step process. Step 1, you buy your currency. Step 2, you summon on the banner. Even if that banner has falsely advertised to you, that has got nothing to do with Apple, because we were only involved in step 1, the purchasing of the currency. What happens within the game after that point, it's not our responsibility from a legal standpoint. If the developer will not help you, your only recourse at that point is your bank, and if your bank won't help you, it's legal action. So basically, the whole reason why they have this two-step program is because they know that, I'm talking about the developers here, they know that if they screw up, legally speaking, they don't need to give you your money. Your money can stay within their ecosystem, and unless you're very lucky and someone like Apple or Google actually out of the goodness of their heart, the way that they see it, steps in and helps you, you're stuck. There's absolutely nothing you can do. Now, I feel that that's wrong. I feel like as a user group, a player base, a set of decent human beings, we shouldn't really want other people to be trapped in something when they've been lied to and misled. People say give the developers a chance to make this right. Like I've said, how do you make right fraud? How do you make right lying to your player base? How do you make right misleading your player base into spending larger sums of money than they may have had to spend if it was simple, true roll of the dice style RNG? Sure, they might have actually had to spend more money. We will never know. That's the thing. When you've actually manipulated a system, you cannot trust that system. So going forward, if that same developer says, we're sorry, it won't happen again, let's move on, how can you A, swallow that and just think, oh well, that money I've spent, that's fine, they scammed me out of that, but I'll just keep going? Who would do that, right? And B, how can you trust that what they're saying is actually true? There's a saying, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. I nearly get the saying wrong. Fool me twice, shame on me. That literally says if you allow someone to do the same actions to you again and the same outcome happens, it's your own damn fault. So if we don't learn from this and actually do something about it, we're basically asking for it. Now, I genuinely don't want to quit this game. I like this game. But I have a massive issue with knowing that I didn't have a fair rub of the green, as they call it. I didn't have a fair chance. You didn't have a fair and balanced chance. Google obviously understand this because they are refunding customers. They're actually now refunding customers without question. Because they've had so many claims, they know there's a problem, they're refunding customers. Apple are not offering customers this same experience. And I feel that that's wrong because, again, we're talking about fraud, deception, misleading players, which ultimately means stealing their money. And we're also talking about a company like Crunchyroll, A+. Crunchyroll is owned by Sony. That's not the type of company you want to be ripping you off. Now, I just need to throw out the caveat here that there is the potential chance this isn't actually Crunchyroll or A+'s fault. The fact is, they both use the exact same version of this game. They both have this problem. They are the publisher, they are not the developer, okay? So these systems might actually be something that's been implemented by the developer, and when it gets rolled out in the game, it's possible, I'm not defending them, trust me, but it is possible that Crunchyroll and A+ didn't actually know that this was in there. They possibly didn't know that this was in the code. This might not have been a problem in somewhere like China, where they probably don't have the same type of rules and restrictions about doing stuff like this within games, gachas, all that type of stuff. But in the Western world, we have rules in relation to probability and chance, and you cannot do that. You can't. They have literally defrauded you out of money. So while I'm not going to say, hey guys, go ahead and quit the game and refund your money, like that's totally up to you. But if you feel like you're someone who doesn't respect being ripped off, then to be honest, what other outcome is there? Okay, so again, I am a small creator. My voice is not going to go very far. It's really not. I need you guys to help me. I need this video to get shared on whatever forums you can. If you can share it on the likes of Twitter and tagging people who usually talk about stuff like this, who can do a bit more, who potentially have a larger following, a larger footprint. Something like that is the only thing that's going to make people like Apple sit up and pay attention. Bad publicity is something they want to try and avoid at all costs. There's a chance if that happens, they may well engage with customers and actually help them be put right, basically. So yeah, if I know a lot of you probably play on Android and you know what, you think, well, I can get my refund, I don't really care. I do these videos, I could have just continued to make these videos, not said anything and made ad revenue off these videos, and hey, I would have looked after myself, but I decided I want to put the community first. I want to make sure that people are not being ripped off, that people are not basically being taken advantage of. So I put other people before I put myself. So I'm asking you, if you are an Android user, and rather than just thinking, hey, Apple sucks, which I understand, rather than thinking that, if you can, take the time, do your bit, see if we can get more eyes on this issue. You don't even have to share my video if you don't want to, even if you just like explain the situation, you don't want to promote. I'm not here looking for promotion. I literally just want to try and get this taken care of. I want players to be made right, and honestly, I just don't agree with a company, especially a company the size of Crunchyroll and A+, whether it be on purpose or inadvertently. I just don't agree with them ripping off players, and I don't think it's right. Anyway guys, if you can, do your bit, I appreciate it. I've been Hayzink, a bit more somber today because God knows what I'm going to do for videos after this. I still want to play this game, so maybe I'll put up videos, but hey, it's going to be free to play from here on out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out dudes, and I will see you later. Bye bye.